When you pre-order Sonic X Shadow Generations, you will be able to get a skin for Shadow known as Terios. Now, if you are not a huge Mega Ultra Sonic fan or Sonic nerd, you might not know who Terios is. I'm here today to tell you who he is, and it's actually not that long of a story, nor is it that complicated. Terios is the prototype design for Shadow the Hedgehog. I find this funny because there is a prototype of the Ultimate Life Form, Shadow's the Ultimate Life Form, so it all kind of comes together full circle in that sense. But yeah, Terios was an original design created for a rival for Sonic the Hedgehog. But when they were designing the character in 1999, they went to America, to San Francisco, they being the director of Sonic Team. They went to their San Francisco headquarters as they're working on Sonic Adventure 2, and they realized a lot of people were talking about a specific character in the United States named Spawn. Now, there's a common misconception that Shadow was inspired from Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z. I mean, there's a lot of elements from Dragon Ball Z that inspired elements in Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm not saying they're straight one-for-one rips, but come on. You have 7 Chaos Emeralds, 7 Dragon Balls, Super Saiyan, Super Form. It's not that hard to connect these dots, so it makes sense that people thought that Shadow was basically just the Vegeta-inspired character, but that's not the case. Originally, the team wanted Terios to be a full-on bad guy rival to Sonic. But as I said, when they were in San Francisco, there was a character that everyone was talking about and they were seeing everywhere that was taking the media up by storm, and that was Marvel comic Spawn. For those of you that are unaware, Spawn is an anti-hero who was a mercenary in his lifetime. Then he, dies and goes down to the very bad place, where he makes a deal where he can come back and atone for his sins. However, when he does, it's 5 years later, he loses his wife, or his memories, so to speak, and it's basically a redemption story of this once really bad guy turned somewhat good. It's kind of like a mix between Ghost Rider and Moon Knight, from my knowledge. I'm not a huge Spawn reader, so forgive me if I got some things wrong there. But it was this idea of an anti-hero that was really taking off in the United States at this time. So they decided, hey, why don't we have Terios be an anti-hero instead of a straight-on rival for Sonic the Hedgehog? But that still doesn't explain why they didn't go with the Terios design, let alone the Terios name, which in a video uploaded on the Sonic the Hedgehog YouTube channel during the Anime Expo a few days ago, there was a panel for Shadow the Hedgehog, more specifically Sonic X Shadow Generations. The director literally said he didn't know why they came up with the name Terios, and they just moved away from it once they voted on a different design, which is the design we come to know today as being Shadow the Hedgehog, which I personally love and adore. Now, I'm sure if Terios was the official design for Sonic Adventure 2, I would end up falling in love with the character. I'm not going to be, lying about that, but I do prefer Shadow's design that we have now versus the Terios design, because it just pops more, the black and red versus Sonic's blue, instead of having like a navy blue, very similar looking Hedgehog compared to Sonic with the quills going down as well. It's too similar to Sonic and would be a little bit more difficult to differentiate between the two. And yeah, that's about it. Terios doesn't really show up in any official Sonic media. He does show up in a fan-made comic called Sonic Revolution, but I don't really count that because it's not published by Sega and it's not approved by Sega. This will be the first official release of Terios as a skin that we've seen in video games or any type of official Sonic media. So it's just really cool to get all this information. I wasn't very familiar with the character at all until I started looking it up, and I watched, like I said, that Anime Expo panel. You had the director of the Sonic the Hedgehog games for the longest time answering questions. You had the voice actor for Shadow and the voice actor for Maria, along with a few people from the team that worked on the animation for Sonic X Shadow's prologue, Dark Beginnings, which they've only released a minute-ish long teaser, but it's supposed to be a 3-episode long arc. So I'm very excited for that, because within that panel, within that interview, the voice actor for Shadow was talking about going and peeling back the layers of Shadow a little bit more, bringing out more emotion, and just kind of releasing a type of energy that he hasn't done before with the character. And I absolutely love this, because in addition to that, pairing with it, the folks that are working on the animation said that they were approached by Sega and they said they wanted it to be edgier, darker, and more in like the spirit of anime. So this is just going to be a really cool altogether project, I think. Before the game even comes out, just the animations alone are really going to give us a psychological look into Shadow, because he has a very twisted and dark backstory, especially for a Sonic character in a Sonic game. His whole purpose was to be the ultimate life form, to find a cure for his only friend up in space, Maria, who grounded him and kept him, in check, because he's edgy, he's a ticking time bomb, but she was there to guide him, to make sure that he knew his purpose, that there was more to humanity and to Earth than what he was thinking. Then all of a sudden, she gets taken away. Everyone he knows gets taken away. His whole purpose is now completely altered and twisted, and he's on this revenge path for his one and only friend and his creator. And it's this dark, beautiful narrative that Sonic Adventure definitely touches on very well. It's a pretty dark game when you think about it, for a kid's game especially. And then Shadow the Hedgehog, for the most part, kind of touches on it, but it makes it a little bit outlandish and convoluted in my opinion. But it'd be good to dial it back, to ground it back a little bit, and just really get a grasp of what's going on in Shadow's head, because he's very quiet. He doesn't let his emotions out all the time, but when he does, it gets really, really crazy. Anyway, that's gonna wrap up this video on Terios and a few other Shadow the Hedgehog stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to hit that subscribe button for more Sonic content. That's all we do here. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. I'm OCDsaster, and I hope you have a super Sonic rest of your day. See ya.